Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible in all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your contemplative, thoughtful hosts. Joining me, as always, is our other contemplative and thoughtful host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
What's the crack? So I'm gonna have to bring it to some hard reality that we're facing right now in California,
Oh, yeah.
which are the fires in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So I think today is what, Monday? I
Uh-huh.
think on like 4 or 5 days ago, no, 6 days. We're on day seven, Tuesday of last week.
Uh-huh.
A fire started in basically like most of Los Angeles is on fire and it's devastating.
Yeah.
And they basically the largest wet reservoir. I don't know if you have reservoirs.
Yep.
I don't know what you use them for, but here we use them for things like wildfires.
Yeah.
So they those were dry, and most people were trying to keep the fires away from their houses and turn their sprinklers on, which meant that there's no water in
Where to fight
any of the fire
fires?
hydrants. So the firefighters aren't even like trying to plug in to fire hydrants at this point, knowing that there is
Jeez.
no water. There's just no water. So they're having to like use these giant scoopers that are pulling like ocean water up and trying to put the fires out as fast as it can. Today's Monday. I think Wednesday, the winds are supposed to pick up again. We've got they're called the Santa Ana winds, which I think I've talked
Okay.
about a couple
Yes.
times. Um, so it's just devastating. A lot of landmark places, houses that have been lived in for, like old Hollywood. It's just everything is decimated, and seeing people literally having everything, it's like celebrities. Most of them can
Yeah.
afford to rebuild, but I know a lot of people that actually had to evacuate, so it's been pretty gnarly. So I just wanted to, a lot of people are asking what they can do to help. It's amazing to see just the amount of support that's coming out from people all over the world. So I just have a website that I wanted to plug.
Mm-hmm.
It's www.lahsa.org, and that gives you all of the different areas where people need resources right now. And it's like as basic as underwear and, clothing. A lot of people really just ran out of their houses. You see people being interviewed, days after they're still wearing the same shirt that they wore when they had to flee. So, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
We also had the same winds came through our area. And so they canceled school and shut the power grid down, and that's to keep all of the fires from not happening, which
Yeah.
down in San Diego we're lucky, but we're 2.5 hours south and it's pretty freaky.
It really is. It's wild to see from a distance, and like I am, fortunate there the handful of people I know in LA are unaffected, certainly so far, but I know that
Good.
they are ready in case, that the worst does happen, so which I was grateful for, but it's kind of wild. And it's like I think it's hard, people have an idea of what LA is like, but it's like it runs the gamut of all sorts of different people, of all sorts
Yes.
of different like, situations like so there's so many people who there's rich people who can afford to rebuild, but like you say there's so many who are suffering and do not have that the luxury of that option, so and I've heard as well that like um a lot of insurance companies pulled out of LA because of state restrictions, which is fucking wild,
They
honestly.
did. Yeah, so in March of 2024, like State Farm, which is one of the biggest insurers,
Hmm.
um, and I'm there are several that did. We actually got dropped.
Oh, really?
And yeah, but Mike was able to find another one. But it's like, you know, I don't know. People are like, well, just don't live there. And it's like, no, it's like you live in Oklahoma, you have tornadoes. You live
Yes.
in Florida, you have
Yep.
hurricanes. You live in Oregon, they're going to have the biggest earthquake that ever happens ever and
Yep.
a tsunami. Like it's all going to happen at some point. And like I know in Florida, there's some clause where they can't insure anybody for anything unless they provide homeowners insurance and fire
Oh, really?
insurance and hurricane insurance. Yeah. So I think California and other states need to, insurance companies need to do the right thing.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, like, and it
So
really lays bare how little of a shit. Do you know what I mean? Insurance
yeah.
company. Like, I mean, the idea of insurance is to protect people, but it's not. It's there to make
No.
money. It's
Yes.
fucking monsters, like,
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Like even the term insurance in the dictionary like doesn't apply anymore. So
oh, really? Does it? It's changed so
no,
completely.
no, but like really it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
So
That
anyways,
sucks.
to bring everybody down, but it is a real thing that's
Eh,
happening
It's
in
worth
real time
considering,
and
and
yeah.
especially because
So
it's in, sort of the state that you're calling home these days. It's yeah,
yeah.
it's wild. It's wild to see from a distance, and like it's yeah, very scary. Really, really is. And further illustration of just how kind of I think how out of whack our weather systems are these days, and probably a sign of things to come, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I like it seems like although certainly things are still bad, they're starting to make some headway last I was reading. So I
They're
hope.
trying to contain, like, they've got, I think 2 days ago we were at 0% containment.
Hmm.
Now they've got some containment, but the fear is that the winds are going to pick back up. And, so they're, uh, I didn't, it's like I still don't know a whole lot about fires
Yeah.
in general, but like even I was watching an interview with where this gentleman was like, most of these homes, um, they're getting the fires, we have vents in our roofs and that pulls in air, and that's how the embers are getting into the houses to start the
Wild.
fires. So it's like put something over the vents so that air normally that's just for air circulation, but that's
Yeah.
actually what's causing a lot of the different fires. There's also now, of course, like people are like, how are these fires happening in all these different areas? So they're wondering if there are arsonists that are
Yeah, I've heard that.
taking
Yeah.
advantage of that. So I don't know what's true and what's
Fucking nuts,
not.
like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be a long rebuild, and it's going
Yeah.
to take a while for this to be contained. And yeah, just, you know,
Wild. Wild.
you can do
Absolutely
more than
awful.
thoughts and prayers.
Exactly in this case.
www.lahsa.org. So,
Yep. Please do if you can.
yep.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right. Very worthwhile.
What about
Um,
you, Mr. Young?
oh God, now I have to give mine.
I know.
All right, okay. So, I mean, like, this is the one thing, and it's one thing that really gets to me about. I have friends who are like, "Oh, wouldn't it be so nice to live in like a sunny place like LA?" And it's like there's a hard reality to living in places with nice weather, and it often means more extreme weather, or other things like, it also means like oftentimes more dangerous animals a lot of the time, and et cetera, et cetera. There
Yeah.
is like there's always downsides, but anyway.
Yeah. No. Like there was one lady that was, it was dark out and she was giving an interview and she thought like, she was talking about animals and like the need to put water out and she thought a dog ran behind her and like no, it was a mountain lion. So
Nuts, wild.
yeah. Yep.
Um, okay, so for me, I think I might have mentioned this previously. The choir started up a little bit earlier this year, so it started up last week. It was
Okay.
chaos. I was really kind of concerned about this fast turnaround because um, I kind of knew that it would probably present some sort of logistical problems, um, but not quite the extent of the problems. So like I essentially 30 minutes before our first rehearsal was due to start, I had one of our kind of committee members calls me and goes, "Are we on tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I'm at the
Nobody
hall,"
knows.
and they've got no idea that you're coming. And it's like,
Oh shoot.
fuck.
Uh,
So
did they have anybody else in there?
fortunately they did. We were very lucky. They had another event, but basically the guy. So like, and I've heard this from other people who work with local councils in Northern Ireland, but like they just don't give a shit a lot of the time. So like the
That's just
guy,
government
that's
workers.
true, that's so true. So like I'd
The
given this
bar is
guy,
low.
right, right, and like and this, I think a lot of people go into this stuff just so that they can not do. anything really. Like I know that's why a lot of people do like government work over here, like get those jobs, civil service jobs. Um, but he had the information 5 weeks ago, didn't send it through, didn't send it to anyone. And so like I spoke to the caretaker, I gave him my like list of dates, so he at least has them now and knows when they should be in there. And like and he's very good, and I built a relationship up with him now, but it was
Good.
still it sucked. And as a result, I then kind of run out of the house to try to resolve this and help set up the room in time. Forgot several key elements like the power lead for the electric piano that we need vitally and things like that. And because of again the short time frame, we didn't have all the printed copies of the music that we had hoped to have, and it was just a
Yeah.
fucking nightmare. So yeah, so it was, but it got there, but like my head was pounding and like my jaw was aching, and it was like I was like just grinding my teeth, but I was doing it in real time. Nor ordinarily it's a nighttime activity for me, but I was like, oh
Right, right,
no.
right.
Um, so yeah, so choir started
It's
up
always good
again.
when you're like, ah, and you're like
Yeah,
massaging your face.
I'm actually waggling my jaw from left to right, and it's like this shouldn't. This is not good for me. But yeah, I'm having a conversation with them about trying to move away from this position anyway, and I think that has been a good sort of reminder of why I'm considering that. So we shall
Yep,
see.
yep. Good.
Easier said than done. So we'll see what
It's
happens.
true.
Also, I went to see Nosferatu since last we spoke.
Ooh, how was it?
It was horny as
Okay.
hell. It's like
Is that Nicholas
Holt,
Holt,
Lily
who I
Rose Depp.
adore? Okay.
Yes, he's great. Lily Rose Depp, William Dafoe. I think they're Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe is just like everywhere.
Oh, he's the best.
I love it.
Like
I'm
he
living
was
for it.
100%. All give me all the Dafoe you've got. Um, but like it was good. But I thought it was a bit too long. I thought it was visually stunning. I thought it was beautiful. I love the character design. I love the design of Count Orlok was so fucking cool. And like genuinely creepy in places. But I thought it was, and I thought all the performances were great too. But I think it just went on a bit too long, and it's a bit of a shame. I think he could do with like an editor or something like that. But I also really love the fact that um such weirdo shit is getting a mainstream release as well. So like I'm thrilled that it exists, and I'm thrilled that it's doing as well as it's doing. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It's just kind of I think I enjoyed it more for the visuals and more for the performances really rather than the complete movie experience, honestly. But
Kind of how I
definitely,
feel about Bram Stoker's Dracula.
yeah.
It's just like so beautiful to watch, but like I wasn't like other than the obvious like amazing. I wasn't all hip to the choices for who they decided to play each character.
Oh yeah.
Like
Hmm.
Keanu Reeves is a little like it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I
Sorry, Keanu.
fucking I love him, but he's not the real kind of subtle sort of actor. He's
No.
not. But I adore him, but he's
Like
just not. That's
Keanu
not
Reeves
him.
in a period piece, it just
No.
doesn't quite like future fine, but like past, I don't know.
They talk about I've heard this term a couple of different times about some actors having you can tell that as a face that's seen an iPhone, and I'm like that's exactly the way to describe it. Some people have these old faces, right? And Keanu Reeves has definitely seen an iPhone.
Yes.
He's got
Yeah.
and a surfboard for that matter.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
so like
His
that.
best role.
Yes. So like I think that is, it's a good way of kind of, but yeah, he's not a good fit. And I think that's not the case here. I think everybody's great in it. But yeah, definitely. I mean, like again, excited it exists, excited that he has become like almost a mainstream director, but yeah, an interesting experience nonetheless.
Very good. Yeah, I saw just some of the stills. I haven't seen like the coming attractions for it or anything. 'Cause all I do is go see kids' movies in the movie theater.
Hmm. I mean,
Wicked,
like there's
wicked, wicked, wicked,
I
wicked.
saw you may have seen this in that case. I finally watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem last at the weekend as well.
No.
It's real good. And
Okay.
it's got like lots of like really fun references as well, like really obscure stuff, like which I adored. Yeah, genuinely good. Like it's kind of got that. Um, animation style from Across the Spider-Verse, those movies, that
Mhm,
sort of
mhm.
look to it, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, I must say.
I finally saw Godzilla minus one.
Oh, how did you find it?
So good.
Yeah, it's a great.
Charlie was terrified.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like too, it's almost like he can handle, I don't know, like he can handle Deadpool violence, but when it's so realistic,
Yeah.
and we're like, this is actually kind of what it was. And I was like, I finally, because I'm an idiot, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I think I told you this. I didn't understand the card game Uno
Okay.
meant one in
Yes.
Spanish, right? Until I was like, I don't know. I was working at a preschool and I was like 20, 22 or something. Um, so I finally put it together that like the United States bombing Japan
Hmm.
created this mutant monster.
Yes. Like
Duh.
they kind of make that
I
more explicit.
I'm just I'm ashamed.
But like, I mean, it's the same thing, right? And that's what frustrates me about people going, "How did you not know that?" And it's like, oh, maybe because I'm like a different person who's had a different lived experience than you. Don't be hard on yourself for not knowing things. It's just you haven't had that knowledge yet.
No, and they don't like like it's
No,
weird. They don't teach us those things.
no,
And like they're like this happened and it was terrible and that's why we never want to repeat this. But it's like it's almost like when it's taught or at least when it was when I was a kid it was like so pushed away that it
yeah.
was almost like, you know, disassociative teaching.
It's
Like this
it's
happened, but it
like
was their
there's
fault because of Pearl Harbor.
well,
It's like, oh
yes.
my God.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a whole like, I think school of of examination in terms of like the impact that the bomb had on all aspects of Japanese culture, and like, but movies is such a big part, obviously, like in terms of Godzilla, obviously, but even like a lot of animation, a lot of Miyazaki films and stuff like that are directly influenced by those things. It's
Mhm.
it's pretty interesting. Um, but
But
yeah.
then also, I'm trying to remember when King Kong was made in like 1900
First, yeah, 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 yeah. A
and so
long
I
time
think
ago.
part of that was I think there was obviously there was influence there and then they ran with that influence.
Yes, I think so. 100%. There definitely was a connection for sure. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that was influenced, but yeah, yeah, it's kind of interesting, all of that. Like, we probably would never had Godzilla were it not for the it's a terrible thing that happened at the end of World War II.
Yeah.
So yeah. Um, but yeah, so I think should we move on to what's occurring?
Yes.
Do you have
So
any?
I don't really, other than like TikTok may get shut down. So for all of our TikTok followers, I'm not sure when, but uh it's going through our Supreme Court right now, and
Yeah.
they're looking at like they're gonna outlaw it in the United States. So things may be changing, there.
That's it's gonna be so interesting to see how that all shakes out. But yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
fascinating.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep. How about you?
so look, I have a piece of good news. I have an Andy's Down with the Streets. I haven't done one in a
Ooh.
while. So I just
Uh,
heard one recently, and I want to get it exactly for you. So basically, okay, so the term is, and you need the complete term for this to make sense, is the smoke.
the smoke. Can I guess?
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to have a guess? I wonder. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a clue I could give you that isn't.
Okay, I'm gonna say it's like smoke show, like the smoke, like they're bringing the good looks.
Uh, no. So okay,
Okay.
here's the clue. Here's the clue. So my friend told me what it was. I'm sorry, my friend gave me the phrase first,
Okay.
how he heard about it. So, and the phrase he heard was, "Okay, this guy really wants the smoke,"
I really want the
while
smoke.
playing a video game for extra context.
Okay, so like this guy really wants to get the crap beat out of him.
Fine. Right. Okay. So
Okay.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I think you've definitely got it there, I
Okay.
think.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
smoke is usually the physical fighting power, violence, aggression of your opponent. You don't
Mhm.
want this smoke would equal you don't want to fight me because I will violently overwhelm you. You want the smoke would mean you're really asking for it. You really want to fight.
Wow.
Love it. And so and this was him. He was watching a Sunflower video when he was talking about one of the bad guys. Oh, it makes me very happy. So yeah, so the smoke, and that's our Andy's time with the street this week. Like I don't even know if I'm fully on top of it this week. So am I down with the streets? I am down with the streets. Okay, how
You
dare you?
are. You
How
are. That's
dare
right.
you question me?
That's you just had a circular conversation with
Yeah, yeah,
yourself
with
there,
myself, where
buddy.
I
You
accuse
don't even
myself.
need me.
I accuse myself. I got angry with myself, and I have my own back. At
That's
least one
right.
of one of my backs. Who knows? We're getting lost here. Okay. Um,
Uh-huh.
shall we move on to our topic for this week?
Yes. Which has nothing to do with anything that we've been talking about at
No,
all.
I know
No.
it's a complete like 90-degree
Yeah.
flip away from it. Yeah. So our topic this week is about meditation. Our episode is called Meditation in Mind, and sort of dip
I was
in.
thinking meditation station, but that's okay.
I mean, like,
Like conjunction junction, but
okay,
no.
we
I'll
can.
let you fight with me about that later.
Beth and I are gonna have a fight about this
Uh-huh.
off pod, and you'll
You
see
don't
who.
want the smoke,
Yeah,
Andy.
yeah, I don't want this smoke, and you'll see who the winner was, whenever you look at the episode. Um, but just we want to talk a bit about meditation. And I think we've touched on it a little bit in some of our like mental health episodes and stuff in the past, but like a greater sort of delve into it, just kind of what it means generally, what it means for us, and those sorts of things.
Is someone texting you?
Yeah, let me turn shit off.
It's okay.
Are people like,
Stop being popular.
oh, I wish.
So I
The
know,
bane of
right?
my life.
So there's a lot of different like I did a little deep dive
Okay.
as I like to do. So there's a lot of different types of meditation that exist, but I think that some of these are definitely ones that can like cross over into other types of meditation. Like you could do more than one type at the same time and not even know you're doing it. How awesome is that?
Mhm.
But
That's yeah,
yeah.
that's appealing to me,
Oh,
I must say.
yeah, right, right. So I guess like Andy, do you meditate?
No, not through lack of trying,
Yeah.
but I would love a meditation practice. But I've never been able to successfully build one, I would say. Not again, I've tried a lot and it just hasn't really worked out for me.
So I would disagree with that.
Okay.
Because I think like movement meditation
Yep.
counts. So that is like that can be, the obvious thing, which would be like yoga or all like anything where you're moving slowly and you're noticing,
Yes.
like, oh, I'm taking a walk or I'm sitting in a
Yes.
chair, right? That's literally meditation.
That's a good point. And I think I've definitely got better for that generally in my life. So yeah, that's true.
So I'm just here to pump you up with your meditation
Thank
and
you.
say, you're already doing some of this, dude.
Yes.
Yes. I what so like the one that I love movement meditation.
Uh-huh.
Um, I did a lot of Ram Dass
Yeah.
reading. Oh, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago.
Hmm.
And he does, or he did, he doesn't, he's died, but he
Hmm.
exists on because he's Ram Dass. But
Yeah.
he called it his loving kindness or I'm loving awareness.
Hmm.
And that was like his mantra that he would say over and over and over, I'm loving awareness, I'm loving awareness. And there's actually it's called LKM and it's loving kindness meditation.
Okay.
And it's like good vibes. Like we're just kind of like, I hope those around me are feeling good. And you send good vibes to yourself and the people around you.
Okay.
And you think of it like as like a hug for your mental health and your brain, right?
That's interesting. Yeah, I like that. I think I
So
do some of that
that's,
a little bit because like I think
yeah.
I don't think I always did that, but I think in recent years of my life I have definitely got closer to that place.
Mhm. Have you, I guess, like what? are areas that keep you from being able to meditate, do you think?
Um, so it's just generally my fucking brain won't shut up. I mean, it just won't fucking stop. It's like I think I've described it as like I think remember like a Simpsons episode where there's all these clowns like constantly coming out of the car and they were like stuffed in. There was arms and legs everywhere and like they popped out every now and again. That feels like it's my brain, just a bunch of fucking clowns.
You got a clown car
Going,
for a brain.
"Bleh," spitting out various shit all the time. Not even like always negative stuff, but like also just like, oh shit, do you have? I was like teaching yoga this afternoon, and my brain went, you're doing yoga cover sometime soon?" And I was like, oh fuck, when is that? Is that this week? Oh God, what have I done? Do I need to check? And I was like, what's happening? Stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, get that
So
leg back in. Get that
yeah,
leg back in there.
I was like, oh shit, how long have I stopped talking for? Has it been forever? I don't think it ever is really too long if I do stop talking, and I think it's probably good to have a bit of space in yoga in terms of giving instructions anyway. So hopefully it's not too bad.
Do you find when you're teaching yoga, like that you get the same benefits as when you're doing yoga by yourself, or do you not?
I don't think so. I mean, I definitely get some of it because I like do the practice while I'm talking about it, which is honestly a lot. And I also am not breathing properly, so I know that like
Mhm.
some of my former teachers would shout at me for, you know, doing yoga without the proper breath
While
work.
or doing yoga at all while you're teaching.
Yes, also true. Yes, both of those things I'd be in trouble for.
Little known fact for those who are listening, the training that we received in Costa Rica,
Mhm.
you're supposed to be able to just tell people what they're supposed to be doing and then kind of walk around and adjust people's bodies as you're teaching.
Yeah.
But it's harder than it's harder than
And
it sounds.
it's also creates it is very because like everybody hears things differently and everybody has a different definition. Like I know, language is so imperfect for describing like
I think
physical
culturally
movement.
too, like I don't know if like Northern Irish culture where people are like cool if you're like, all right, I'm gonna adjust your,
This is
you
also
know,
very true. Like, and I mean,
yeah.
like that. I mean, like for those things generally in Northern Irish culture. Also, I am oftentimes a male teacher teaching a mostly female class, and
Yes. Yes.
I'm not going to just go around and randomly touch,
No.
female,
No.
members of my class at all. There's not a chance I would do that. So, like, it creates. So, I think under the circumstances that I teach, it's the best thing because I think a lot of people are better visually at seeing,
Hmm.
what posture that should look like. And a lot of
Hmm.
people, and I think having both of those things is really valuable.
Hmm.
And I think it served me quite well in terms of feedback and stuff I've got. You know, like I often say to people who are planning to start off yoga is that I really feel that you need to find a teacher that you vibe with anyway. So it's not going to work
Yeah.
for everyone, but it seems to
It's
work
like finding
for
a
most.
therapist.
Yes.
I agree. Um, so there's also spiritual meditation, which a lot of people do. So spiritual meditation, it's like focusing, it's like prayer,
Yep.
basically. So like focusing on connecting with like a higher power, or something with like religious meaning. And so I think people that pray,
Yeah.
that are like, I don't meditate, but they pray, I think that is obviously like people talk about the power of prayer. And, I think if we think about um, loving kindness meditation and sending out positive vibes like that, I do believe in the power of that.
Yes. As do I. And I think that like, even more broadly than that, like I feel like I think it's anything that, allows you to get outside of your own head for a bit, and I've like talked about, why I really love video games and like how the level of engagement I have both mentally and physically because I'm having to, perform actions can really kind of help me like just get away from that mind space for a period of time. And I think it's definitely the closest to a control meditation that I have probably in my life.
Hmm. I'm gonna be totally honest and to say that I can't really meditate right now.
Hmm.
I
But you've been,
can't. I can't. Like when yeah, I went,
I'm not, yeah, I'm saying that in the past, I know
yeah,
you've been
I
able to.
have been able to.
Yeah.
And like I just can't, even with like training in transcendental
Yep.
meditation, I cannot get back into it. And like, I think I've talked about how I have like physical reactions to
Yep.
any type of like chanting or meditation where I get like lightheaded and then I want to like vomit.
Yeah.
So weird. It's so weird. I get hot and so obviously, you know, either that's not something my body wants to do or there's some like blockage that I need to work through, but I just don't want to, I don't have the energy to do that shit.
Well, this is exactly it. And it's also kind of like about realizing, oh, maybe now is not the time when it's going to be working out for me, and maybe I'll get back to it later on in my life. Has
Yeah.
it has it always been the case with the chanting meditation and stuff like that? You've got hot and you feel like throwing up, or has that changed?
I mean, I didn't really start chanting meditation until Costa Rica.
Okay. Right.
Um, and I've done like a, what do they call it? A curtan?
Oh yeah, Kirtan. I really want to do a Kirtan.
And I've done that, and I had the same like physical like reaction where I was like leaning against my friend that I was with and like not feeling well. And I would kind of come in and out of it. And I was
Yeah.
sitting down, so that was good. But like I literally need to like lay horizontally. And like I remember in our training, our friend looked at me while we were doing our chanting and was like, "You don't look good. You need to lay down." And I was like
Yes.
I think I'm gonna pass out. Um, so I do think that like obviously it's got, you know, powerful benefits
Yeah.
or powerful, I don't know if benefits for me necessarily, but like there's a lot of power there. And
Yeah.
I think um I want to understand it more
Yeah.
if I'm going to continue with it.
It's kind of about like finding a safe way for you to access it, really, a way that kind of is valuable to you, but not like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that doesn't make me want to horf, right?
yeah,
Which is the American word for vomit.
yeah, yeah. I like it.
So,
Uh, I don't think you remember, like I fucking that was my favorite one by far. And
was it
after,
really?
yeah, because like afterwards
Were you high?
I was on a high. I Because like I can obviously be chatty at times, but I can also be quite quiet at times, as you know. But like I was just like chatting so much to people. I was singing at people afterwards when we had dinner and things like that. So I was like fully, yeah, it just really got to me, you know. It speaks to like, how important that chakra is to me, I think, you know.
Mhm. Do you remember which chakra we were? Was it a root chakra
Uh-huh.
that we were working? Do you remember? Because we did like an activity for each chakra.
Yes, we did.
Was it all the chakras that we were working on, or was it?
We did. No, no, no. We did. We went down. So we did like an activity for each of the chakras, but I can't. That was the
I
throat
don't
chakra,
remember.
that one, I think. Wasn't
Oh,
it
you're
the
right.
throat chakra? Yeah, I'm pretty
Of
certain it
course it
was.
was. Of course
Um,
it was.
but I don't think I could tell you what all the others were. I could maybe work through it if I really thought about it, but I can't think off the top of
Yeah.
my head.
No, it's okay. So there's also like m mantra meditation, which we did a little bit in our training, and that's just like repeating a sacred word or phrase
Hmm.
and focusing the mind, and that's, supposed to promote relaxation. Um, there are so many mantras. There are like thousands of mantras, so and each one has a different meaning. So I didn't go too far into that, but that is another way that you can meditate. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's so alluring, I must say. Like, I
mm.
freaking, I kind of wish that I could access it more easily than I could, but like you say, it's just maybe about maybe kind of resetting what my expectations are from meditation as well.
I have a friend who did a silent meditation retreat for
Hmm.
like 7 days,
Hmm.
where you go with a group of people and you are silent and you meditate for 7 days. And I was like, how was it? And they were like, it was so amazing. And like, even though you're not speaking to each other, you still feel like a real connection, even though you're not able to talk while you're sharing meals. You really do feel a connection with people. And like,
Interesting.
I don't know, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine trying to go to a silent meditation retreat with me and not being able to talk? I don't think
Yeah.
I could, at least with you, I couldn't do it.
Like I think, yeah, and I mean, it's interesting because I'm kind of weighing it up myself here as we're talking about it, and I think that like despite the fact that like I'm often keen not to talk, I think if the option was completely removed, I would feel I don't know, I would struggle with it at least
I would
anyway.
try and break all the rules. That's what I
Yeah,
would do.
I mean, like similar to our YTT, it was multiple rules broken. Um, but yeah, um. I I don't know if I told you before about a so we have a variety of different sort of Buddhist centers in Belfast
I
and
didn't know that.
they yeah I was kind of surprised to hear it, but it was my friend kind of, and this was some time ago, this was probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and my friend was like they are having a guided meditation weekend if you want to go, and I'm like sure, let's go to go. And you just stuck around and basically like and they did one on a Friday, one on a Saturday, and they basically did 30-minute long sort of meditations. Some were guided, some were silent, and just sit
Mhm.
in a room filled with people. And at first, like I'd say the first few, I was like, okay, I'm in it. But like after doing a lot of that and taking breaks in between the day, I really kind of struggled with it. Um but it was cool kind of to, I mean, it's always, I always find it fascinating to see um the inside of like a Buddhist center, things like that.
Totally,
Uh,
totally.
so it was cool from that point of view. But yeah, it was maybe just too much and the format wasn't quite there for me. Yeah, but it was interesting. It was an interesting experience nonetheless.
It it's interesting. I was reading an article about Tibetan monks and
Hmm.
the high rate of diabetes that they have.
Okay.
Uh and like high blood pressure,
Uh-huh.
even though so much of their life is dedicated to meditation and, you know, loving awareness and all of those
Yep.
things. And it's almost and again, this is like one article that I read, so please forgive me if I'm overstepping here, but just the correlation between, you know, pushing out loving kindness and awareness and, you know, then also the damage that that can do to your body
Yeah,
was very interesting to me.
that is interesting.
I know. And I'm not saying meditation is bad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just like, I guess it's always interesting like where these conversations start to go with whatever sometimes we end up in a place where I'm like, wow, I never,
Yes,
thought about
but
that. But like it's not always beneficial, I guess.
no, I agree, and I think yeah, too much of a good thing is too much, and it's like, it's not something I know an awful lot about, but I would say that there is a cost to living a life like that. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't say
Yeah.
that there would be any way that there wouldn't be. And like I think that it seems, you know, it's envious kind of thinking about the discipline that would be required for that, but also I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if it would, you know, make me happy or content or anything like that. I don't know whether, I've got the correct mindset for it, but it is it's very much something like that's religion. I was having interesting conversations with friends about religion recently, and he's like, fairly anti all sort of organized religion, and which I completely understand and an opinion I respect, but like, Buddhism, as far as like a lot of the other religions go, ain't so bad as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I agree. I was this is so off topic, but on
Go for it.
topic. I was watching a documentary about they're called the West Memphis Three.
Yes. Hmm.
And these three boys, basically, they were all teenagers. I don't think maybe one of them was over 18, were accused of killing, I think there were three little boys.
Yep.
And basically it was in the United States, we had this, it's like in the 80s, early 90s, it was like late 80s, where there was hysteria around Satanism. And
Yeah.
like everyone was really excited to blame, anything random on the Satanists,
Yes.
And so these three high schoolers got in trouble because they listened to Metallica, and they all got sentenced to life in prison and death row. And so one of the men who was sentenced, the teenagers who was sentenced, his name's Damien Eccles. And I was reading he's written some books about his experience, and he spent somewhere between like 6 and 8 hours. Well, he was in solitary confinement for like years,
Okay. Wow. Intense.
years, like 8 years in solitary, right? And he spent about 6 to 8 hours every day meditating. And he's like, I would have killed myself if it wasn't for this
Yep.
practice. And I put all of my energy into, focusing on my mind, and that really like saved me. I'm still having a hard time. He was interviewed, on some talk show, and he was just talking about, what solitary confinement does to you, but
Yep.
also like how meditation provided him with a structure where, um, he wasn't it'll drive you insane when you're by yourself for that
Absolutely.
many hours and years and all of that. So I just thought that that was interesting that, you know,
It's
I,
it's so fucked up, honestly, to could do that to somebody. Do you know, like I
oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely brutal. It's interesting. There was and I talked a bit before in the podcast about a comic book author who I really enjoy called Ed Brubaker, and he did
Hmm.
a recent book called Houses of the Unholy, which was about that very thing, and it was a
Hmm.
fictionalized version of that idea. This lady who later on in life has become I think probably a private investigator. I can't remember. She finds missing people at least anyway. Oh, no, no, no. I think what she was involved with was she found kids who were in cults and rescued them from cults essentially. But her background was that she was one of these kids who um was a member of the Satanic Six that said that all these like counselors and like from the summer camp they went to were involved in like satanic practice and things like that. And it's her kind of like as an adult processing that and going, you know, at that age, like you don't know, like she was like, I don't know whether I was told that, I don't know whether there was a ringleader that told me that, and her trying to like parse reality from this fiction that like consumed so much of her young life. And it was a very interesting sort of like subject to explore, it's nuts, completely nuts.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Cults, man.
right. I know it's a whole other one. I mean, we're doing an episode on that, we'll probably get in trouble, right?
I don't know. Well, depends on like what your definition of yeah. I think most things are cults, but
Yeah, this is actually very, very true. It's just some are more insidious than others. There is
that's
like
true.
one of the I think I've banged on to you about watching a show called How To with John Wilson before.
Yes.
And in that show he essentially takes a topic and he just kind of like follows we pathway and he kind of sees what like we diversions kind of take him down different directions. Anyway, in one like completely unconnected episode, he was talking about how he was in like an a cappella group and they were performing in a contest and the thing about his shows is that he obsessively videos everything, so he has all this footage like and he uses that to kind of put together like create his shows in this kind of DIY way. But they performed as part of this a cappella like larger competition, and he kind of only realized in later years that it was actually run by Nixium, the
Oh,
yeah.
I do. The cult that likes to brand people.
Uh-huh. And it was and
Yeah.
it just like it comes out of nowhere. It was so fast. It was like you're like, whoa, holy fuck. So like very uh, it's just such a kind of wild reveal. That's just really good for that in terms of just like he just kind of drops things on you and you're just like, whoa, what the
Whoa.
hell? Yeah. But yeah, yeah, cults, they're fucking nuts.
So, to bring us back to our topic, I
Yeah.
did find one type of meditation that I think could be beneficial for you.
Okay.
So this is called progressive meditation or
Hmm.
progressive relaxation meditation.
Okay.
So basically, you can just do this while you're listening to like a podcast in bed or like
Hmm.
watching a show or whatever. It's probably they would probably tell you not to do that, but I like to multitask. So you basically just like tense one muscle group at a time
Hmm.
and then relax it. So like you're like, all right, tense up my shoulders, tense, 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 relax. And then you move your way down your body, like tense my face,
Oh, okay. This sounds
right?
familiar. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that because it's more physical and it's less in your head
Yeah.
and it has similar benefits, I think that you should try it
I
and
like that
report
one.
back.
It's a nice idea, actually. Yeah. I think I need that. I think I need that connection to the real world
I mean,
because
you're
like
already doing it with your jaw.
it's true.
So,
It's like unclamp jaw, Andrew. Do it
uh,
now.
uh-huh.
Yeah, that's a
And then
good
you could
one.
be like, that was progressive relaxation. Yay
Yeah.
me.
I'm so enlightened. I know, sorry. I'm on the pathway to enlightenment. Sorry,
Right,
everybody.
right, right.
I know that I will never get there, but I gotta keep striving for that path.
Striving for it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, that's good. Like and because I do, I would love one, and I think it would probably do me wonders, honestly, just as a way to uh I'm always talking about like decluttering my life in ways and then just fucking cluttering it in different different ways afterwards.
Yeah.
So I think a concerted effort to like declutter my brain would be really helpful in terms of like decluttering my life as well.
I I also think like I think decluttering is also a meditation. I decluttered my
Yeah,
bathroom this weekend
nice.
because I spilled something everywhere and I was like, oh fuck, I gotta deal with this, right? And like
Yeah.
get everything, all the bottles and tubes of whatever, and like throw them all in the sink. It's the stuff I use on my hair, and it's like I have dreadlocks, and so it's really oil. It's like puts oil back into the hair.
Yep.
Um, because dreadlocks can get really dry, and
Hmm.
it got everywhere. And I like pulled everything out, cleaned it, cleaned it, cleaned it, decluttered, felt good
Hmm.
about it. And I was like, this is like creating space in my brain for other things, is creating space in my bathroom for more shit to throw in into the
Yeah, this is true.
drawers, right? But like I think that as a like you were talking about doing that with your bedroom, I
Yes.
think,
I
and like how
yeah.
good that felt. And I think,
Like
that's
wh- I think I really am trying a lot to like make things usable. I just kind of and it's also just helpful for me because like my brain like I need to like have a place that things live. If
yeah.
it just sends me nuts otherwise completely.
It's
So yeah.
just it's also it's like movement meditation.
Yes, exactly.
So
Exactly right. Yes, I like it.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Um,
So
mhm.
so basically like I think the easiest one, that's not true. The one that sounds easiest but isn't is mindfulness meditation,
Mhm.
which is the one I think I struggle with the most, other than chanting.
It's
Um,
it's the purely like just being quiet, breathing, and then just sitting there and letting, whatever
it's
wash over you.
it's just like whatever, it's like you slow down your racing thoughts, you throw the clowns out of your car, right?
Yes.
Let go of the Okay, I'm gonna read this.
Okay.
Mindfulness meditation is a mental training practice that teaches you to slow down racing thoughts, let go of negativity, and calm both your mind and body. It combines meditation with the practice of mindfulness, which can be defined as a mental state that involves being fully focused on the now, so you could acknowledge and accept your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment.
Okay.
It's so fucking hard.
Yeah, that's wildly difficult.
It's like you teaching yoga and then being like, wait, what am I teaching next? Right?
Yeah.
Like you could have just been like, no, no, focus
It's
on the neo Andy. But like to control that is for me like almost impossible.
one of the things I remember, I can't remember who it was, but whenever I was being taught meditation, like possibly at that retreat that I was talking about earlier, one of the useful pieces of advice is
Mm.
advice that I was given was that these thoughts will come. There's almost no way to completely shut them out. And
Yeah.
it's just like
Yeah.
about having them and releasing them rather than going, I'm trying to be mindful. What is this thought doing here and getting angry about it? Because that doesn't do any good in terms of your like mind state, in terms of relaxment. It's just kind of like uh, so like these thoughts do come, but take them, release them, and just kind of try to get back into it.
Hmm. And I guess one of the types that I have had success with, especially, you know, well, one of is guided meditation. Like if you just
Yeah.
want an easy way to kind of dip your toe in,
Yes.
is have someone talk to you in your head and and just tell you what to think and what to feel. And there are guided meditations for everything.
It's true. And
They're like,
there's yeah.
it's Tuesday, here's your guided meditation because it's Tuesday and today starts with a T, right?
Uh,
And like,
yes. And I think there's some really good apps and stuff for it. And I'm also kind of thinking that if people want to like, say for example, send us $1,000, we can
yeah,
record us doing a guided meditation for
uh-huh,
you.
uh-huh. About
So
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
yeah, yeah, or like whatever your topic of choice is, but it's $1,000 is
The
your
West Memphis Three.
yeah, you're the West Memphis Three, but just in a really calm, soothing voice. So just let us know. But our basement is $1,000, $1,000 and up, and
Yep,
we can
yep.
tailor one for you.
I like
Um,
it. I like it.
okay, perfect.
Maybe people are already using this as meditation.
It's quite possible. Yeah, you
Uh-huh.
sickos, maniacs. I love it. I Do you have anything else on meditation?
I just always like I talk about transcendental meditation all the time.
Mhm.
That is the one that's been most successful. It's 15 or 20 minutes in the morning, 15 or 20 minutes at night. You go and get trained, uh, and it's just awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
that's
And
also the
I
one.
wish I could do it right now, but I can't.
Yeah, it's also the one that David Lynch does, and everybody knows
Yeah.
he is cool as hell, and
Hell yeah.
um, tranquil as fuck. I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
probably.
No, and they've done like all the science. I don't know why transcendental meditation got all the funding for all the research, but
Yeah,
all
it's
the
true.
research says that like it's, you know, they've put a lot of time and energy and effort into figuring out exactly what it does. And it's the equivalent of like, taking like a 3 hour nap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shit.
So, just in terms of like it at a cellular level, it's like, regenerating and resting and you hit that REM sleep state, but you're
Cycle.
awake. It's kind of crazy. But I
Oh,
also
interesting.
wonder, with all these other types of meditations, like I'm sure that the science is there too if people cared to look. So if anyone
Yeah.
wants to fund that
Yeah.
science and research, um, first help fund us, but then move on
Yes.
there. It would be good.
Send us a message to Bandy and say,
Yes.
send us money and we'll
Yes.
we'll get on it.
Right.
I love it.
Yep.
Okay, okay. Um, in that case, shall we move on to our final wee section? Beth, what has been bringing you joy this week?
So every year around this time, I start watching all of the movies that will probably be on the Oscars list for Best Picture.
Okay.
I love this time of year. I will spend all the money to rent or I typically don't really like seeing movies in the movie theater
Okay.
because I like to be able to pee whenever I want to. I really
Sure.
just want a seat that I can pee in, you
Yeah.
know? I'm sure they exist, but
That's a business idea, am I right?
it
Definitely.
is, it is. So, but I started Conclave last night
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
and I'm only halfway through, but I
Okay.
love it. I love it. I love because I know nothing about Vatican City.
Yep.
But every time the Pope dies and there's a new Pope, I'm always like, did the white cloud puff of smoke come up today? Like, did
Yeah.
they like like what is the conclave? And they're all sequestered and the whole thing, and they go into it, and it's so interesting because I know nothing and I'm so unreligious. Like, it's just the it's I love this shit, man.
I I I really enjoy Conclave too, but like I really once you finish that, I'm really be interested to hear what your interpretation of the ending is, and not the like there is a kind of sort of important thing I'll say without talking too much, like that happens
Mhm.
at the end. But then there's a final wee section, and I was just kind of like, huh? And I didn't really, I wasn't sure. I still haven't fully kind of processed what the meaning behind it was, though I heard an interpretation recently that made a bit of sense. But
Was it the director talking about Megyn Kelly being mad about how it's not Christian enough or
oh,
something?
I have not heard that. No. You know, one of the things that I thought there's a guy who has hopefully shown up that I thought for sure was Jean Reno, but it's not. It's an Italian actor who just looks a bit like him. Um, so yeah.
Okay, so Megyn Kelly got mad. She said there's a twist at the end. She's saying it's anti-Catholic. And the director said, I would quote the whole message of which is about the church always having a spiritual core, because to me that is the very central Catholic idea that I was brought up with. I stand by it, he said. So I don't know if that helps you.
But she's like another freaking right-wing ghoul, isn't she? Yeah, she is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah.
But she's had her own, I mean, so she had her own she got canceled
Oh,
or
did she?
something.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Oh,
by her
okay.
own people. And they made a movie about it. I don't
I
know.
mean, like they all freaking eat each other, and
They do.
a
They
lot of
eat
the
their
time,
own. They eat
yeah,
their own. They eat their
they
own.
really do.
Anybody
Cool.
that's like doing anything in like politics, or talking
Yeah.
about politics, they're just eating their own.
They'll just
That's they all.
they will slash your throat in a second if it gives
Yeah.
them like an inch more, yeah, you know,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck them all.
Yeah. So I love this time of year. If you have recommendations for movies that I need to see that are probably going to be up for Best Picture.
Yeah, I'll
That's the
have
one
to
I really
see.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we think the substance is probably going to be up for it as well, right?
Which one?
The substances I think is going to be up for it, which you've seen
I hope
already.
so. Yeah, and I'm glad that Demi Moore won a
Gold Globe.
Golden
Yeah, yeah,
Globe for
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what else is up
Did you
there
see that
actually.
that was her first award she's ever won?
I
Did we talk
know
about this
we talked
already?
about
And I
this
was
last
like,
week,
what the
but it's
fuck? Okay, yeah.
ridiculous. It's
I know.
insane.
Yeah,
Truly
yeah, yeah.
insane. I must
What?
check and
Yeah.
see what else is there.
Okay.
Um,
How about you? What's bringing you joy?
okay, so I'm almost certainly going to butcher the name because I've been doing it constantly recently. So, one of the reasons why I love, you know, the movies, talking about the movies, the movie theater that I love in the US, the Alamo Draft House, is
I
that
know. Is it
before,
still there?
yes, it is. Oh, God, that's a good
Okay.
question. It's in downtown. I think it's pretty far from where the fires
Okay.
were, so
Okay.
I think it is. Um, so like, and there's a handful of them across the US anyway, but what I really love about that theater in particular is that, and again, this applies to all of them. Whenever you go in, they don't really have trailers. They have some movie trailers, but it tends to be stuff they have. They don't have adverts. Instead, what they have is like whenever I remember going to see Everything Everywhere All at Once, and they had interviews with like some of the cast, and they had clips from some of their movies, and them talking about their career and things like that. It's much more fun stuff. But the last time when I was in and I went to see the SNL movie, what they had was a load of like music videos and stuff. And one of the music videos they played was by a band called, and I may butcher this, but it's Rondo Veneziano, and they are a Italian band from the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s who did like modern orchestral pieces with like a guitar, rhythm section, you know, drums, and they made like sort of so it was a bit of a mixture between like the traditional orchestra sound and kind of modern music. Um, but like they had a variety of different sort of like things they did on stage. But one of the things that they did was they wore like traditional like powdered wigs and like outfits from like the 18th, 19th century, but then had like
Fabulous.
robot masks on. And it was like
Wow.
a very much like, and it was like such a clear, and like one of the videos I saw in particular, you could clearly see the influence of this group on Daft Punk and things like that. And it was like, it was just like finding this whole world that I had never come across before. And I kind of love, I've been really enjoying dipping into their back catalog because there's not many bands, certainly that I'm aware of, that are doing this sort of thing, or so like it's such a cool kind of sound to listen to. But yeah, so I definitely recommend the one song that I loved and the one that I really kind of turned me on to them was called La Serenissima, which is it means the most serene, and it was a way that they used to describe the Republic of Venice.
Ooh.
Mm. So yeah, I still love that song, and it's more so Rondo, Veneziano, and Serenissima is the song. I definitely recommend people check it out. Though I've got to say, I've recommended it to a number of different people, and everybody's been fairly nonplussed about it, but I love it. So maybe it'll work for you out
That's
there
all
at
that
home.
matters. That's what
Exactly.
matters. Uh,
But yeah, I think that's us for now. Isn't it? Or do you have
mm,
anything else? Can you let people know where they can find us at least before we
please find us at
go?
bendypodcast.com. And I'll put the link up for donations
Yes.
for the Los Angeles fires up on the website as well. So please check that out. And yeah, send loving kindness to the folks of LA and wish me
Yep.
luck on Wednesdays when the winds hit us here. So
Yep.
yay for the future.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
Yeah.
crossed. All right, folks. In that case, as always, we'd like to remind you to Really go for it. The
Bendy.
longest ever in
Fucking
solidarity.
whistle tones like Ariana Grande.
Hell yeah. All
All
right,
right,
we
love you
love
guys.
you. Bye
Bye,
bye.
bye, bye, bye.